Welcome to Get Organized at Work. I'm your host, Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, healthcare leader, mom of three, and your go-to guide for ditching the chaos and taking control of your workday. This is the show where we turn overwhelming to-do lists into clear, actionable plans so you can crush your goals and show up as your best self at work and in your life. Whether you're here for strategies to stay ahead or systems to simplify your workday, you're in the right place. Let's get organized, have some fun, and make this year your best year in your career yet. Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to Get Organized at Work podcast. I'm Kayla. I'm your host. And today we're talking about the question, what would you do in your career if you weren't afraid of being judged? All right, it's going to be a deep one, but it's going to be a fun one and a lighthearted one today too. Before we dive in, I want to remind you that we have our Get Organized at Work podcast community, which is awesome. You meet tons of people from across different disciplines, as well as have access to me, do a little bit more learning and voting on the topics inside the community. So I would love to encourage you to join. Something new that I'm trying to do, I haven't done it yet, but my first email should go out this week, is send a weekly newsletter just to community members so that you get this sort of wrap up of the week for the topics and the things that were in the community so you don't miss it. And I also want to remind community members, if you're listening, that the community is also inside of an app. So if you are a community member, you should have gotten an email from me letting you know how to access the app. Go ahead and download that. And then you have it on your phone. You can get notifications as you wish and also just stay a little bit more engaged. So that'll be fun, something that I'll be talking a little bit more about here as we lean into the end of the summer and the fall and talk about how this community will keep growing. So the link for that is in the show notes or in the description below. Let's dive into the episode talking about what would you do if you weren't afraid of being judged or it didn't really matter, nothing was off the table. What would you do if you weren't afraid to take the leap at work? And I've been doing some writing and reflecting on this question. And I think a lot of times career coaches will ask this question. And as people who are being coached, we think, oh my gosh, my answer is going to tell me that I'm either completely aligned with the work that I'm supposed to be doing or I'm in the total wrong job. So it's scary to even answer the question of what would you do if you weren't afraid, because we're almost afraid to wonder if we are out of alignment. So I'm guessing if you listen to this podcast, you're really focused on alignment, doing the right things, being organized, being proactive. So that question is even like a little bit scary and triggering in itself. So as I was writing and reflecting on this, I wanted to flip the script and think about the question of what would you do if you weren't afraid of being judged, or if you just weren't afraid in your career, and interpret it a little bit differently. So here's how I want to think about it. I want to think about, okay, whatever the answer is, it doesn't matter. However, how can we analyze, okay, if this was our answer, what do we love about those things? What do we love about that answer? And how can we incorporate that into our current role to increase our level of fulfillment in our work? So, of course, as we know, our job, and I want to share this with you if you aren't in this mindset yet, but our job can never, I don't think, be 100% fulfilling every single area of your entire life for you. I think people want it to. I think there's this sort of like idyllic thought that, oh, if I land the right career, every day of my life won't feel like work. And well, I think there are really specific examples of, labors of love and of people who are just totally their job. They're like, it's them, right? Like they embody it. It's this wonderful thing. I just think that's pretty rare. And for many of us, we love our jobs. It's a big part of who we are, but we also are people outside of it. And so, for example, my job can't give me my children, right? Like my children are going to fulfill me in different ways. My job might have been able to provide stability so that I could have children, but they are not my children, if you get my drift. So I think it is okay to work on increasing the level of fulfillment you get from your work while knowing that it can't always 100% supply the fulfillment that you have in your life. So, my goal is to help you enjoy your work while you're in the messy parts of it sometimes, while you're in the easy parts, and create more ease for yourself. Because getting organized should be all about what are we doing it for? We're doing it to make our days flow more easily, to make our to-do lists more manageable, and just find that inner peace and flow, knowing that we're doing the best job we can because we have systems. So let's think about sort of the why and behind what we do, and how we can love what we do even more. So let's go back to that question. What would we do if we weren't afraid of doing it and being judged for doing it? And so when I was doing this prompt in my journal, the first thing that came to mind, and I don't even know exactly why, but I know that I love this thing. And the first thing was be a ballet dancer. So I was like, yep, if I if all things were easy and natural and I could have gone on to be a professional ballerina, absolutely I would do it. So I was thinking about, well, why why does that matter now? Why how did the dancing that I did, ballet, tap, jazz, point, how did I do that when I was a kid? It was like 13 years of that. And I do take adult classes now because I love dance. Why does it matter now? And it reminds me of a time when I felt joy, where I feel alive, creative, connected, have lots of relationships. And so I wanted to think about what would it look like to bring that same energy into our current work lives. So if you do the same thought exercise with me, I would love it if you would think about what would you do if you weren't being judged or you weren't afraid. Write that down in the middle of your paper, circle it. If you're driving, obviously don't do it now, but think about it. Do this like mind map exercise with me. So when I did mine, I wrote ballerina in the middle. And then I was thinking about these like roots or these extensions of this mind map. Why does dance bring me so much joy? And I wrote meeting people, being creative. Um, I choreographed my own dances sometimes. So that was sort of like early leadership, like kind of being innovative and had the freedom to learn and be a better choreographer, and kind of take accountability for some of our first dances where we didn't have a choreographer at the beginning of the year. Um, Learning discipline and focus while being self expressive was really beneficial. I do remember as a kid having to have such mental fortitude when you're holding poses and your teacher's coming around and critiquing how you're holding it. You'd be like, okay, tummy in, butt in, like pelvis under, like they would kind of come through and critique every part, be like, point your toe more, and your turnout needs to be more, and chin up and shoulders back, like all of that. And it helped me take feedback, but also be really focused and want to do the right thing while being me. I also wrote music, being able to move, being able to feel like high vibrations, like high energy. Just music really does that for me, puts me in a different place, helps me be more open. And again, building close relationships, connection, and collaboration are really important to me. And that brought me a lot of joy. And so as you go through this, write down your item and then brainstorm these offshoots, these roots, these legs: joy, creativity, artistry, relationships, expression, uh, being feeling alive, like deep learning, discipline, fun. Whatever yours is, it doesn't have to be mine. It doesn't have to be around creativity, but whatever it is, write that down. Then what I want you to do is think about how can you bridge these feelings to your work. So for example, if I was going to bridge, let's pick out the theme of being creative and reclaiming creativity, right? So I'm a lab manager and sometimes it can feel like it's not creative. It's like I got to follow these rules. They're very specific. Something that I've intentionally done is tried to think like, okay, how can I bring my passion and value of creativity that's important to me into my role? And I think about how I can be creative with my communication, how I can be creative with the teaching that I do, how I can be creative with my solutions to problem solving. So think about how could you bring this in to your work? So what you can do is sort of take that mind map that you've made and start to write down how you might bring these items into your work. So I'll give you an example. So if one of my themes is being expressive, feeling like me, being high vibration, I might say, okay, during my workday, I definitely need to have music. I need to be able to move during my day, and I need to have time for brainstorming or even like doodling, mind mapping, because for me, that helps me think. It helps me be more open, and I need to be open to have creative solutions, right? So I might say, okay, remember, Kayla, when you're feeling low energy, pop on your favorite song. What are your favorite songs? Like in the moment when you can't think of them, have your playlist, pop on that playlist. Or, hey, Kayla, remember, you start to feel like, ugh, during the day, get up and go move, go get a coffee, go walk around, go for a little walk, let your mind wander. That's when your best ideas show themselves. I want you to give yourself permission to do these things. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the most efficient in the moment, but how can you open up yourself to feel more alive, to feel fulfilled in your work? So those are just some of the examples of like, how do I bring music into my day? How do I bring deep connection into my day? How do I bring in creativity? Whatever that item or that thing is that you said you would do without being judged, if you weren't being judged, how do I bring in the aspects that I love about that thing that whatever it does for me into my current role? So I want you to think about this journal prompt if you're feeling stuck or as you do this. Where do I feel most alive in my current work? And how can I lean into that more? Ugh, just let that sit. Like, when do I feel the most energy? Is it with the people? Is it with the processes I'm working on? Is it when I'm doing data? When I'm giving a presentation? When I'm researching? How do I lean into that more? And honestly, that's probably going to be one of your strength areas. So 100% capitalize on that because that will give you greater fulfillment. And as you go into the mid-year and you're thinking about goals, if you haven't set any yet, think about goals around where you feel most alive because you are more likely to accomplish those because you're excited about it. And then maybe ask yourself the reverse question. When do I feel like least like myself? What's the most energy draining thing or things about my job that I do? And in most cases, you're not going to be able to get rid of those items. But what you can do is put a spin on it and say, how do you make those more fun? How do I take those other items that fulfill me and utilize those to help me make tasks that feel low energy or better? So, for example, if I hate doing time cards, let's just say, because it's monotonous, something that I would do if music gives me high vibe is say, okay, well, today when I do time cards, I play this song and I associate it in a positive way, and that helps me enjoy it. I get my favorite coffee. I had the hair in the bun because that means energy, right? And I have the song on. Then I do the work, right? Give yourself these positive associations because at the end of the day, yeah, it's about all the little things that you did and all the outcomes you're trying to achieve, right? Like those big picture things and the little things you did. But you won't remember those 5, 10, 20 years ago when you're reflecting on your career. You're going to be thinking about like how it made you feel day to day. So if you create a place where you feel fulfillment because of the energy that your role brings you, because of the light and the sparkle that it brings to your eyes, that's what you're going to remember. Or you're going to remember the slog and how you wished you were a ballerina when you were just a manager, quote unquote. There's no such thing as just a manager, right? Like you can bring that ballerina energy, whatever it is, whatever your ballerina energy is, to your current role. You know what I mean? All right. Well, I hope that this episode helps you just reflect a little bit. Again, kind of leaning into the summer months when we're doing a little less tactical work and we're sort of diving into rest, rejuvenation, what makes us tick. Because in the next episodes coming up, we're going to start talking about goal setting. We're going to have a get organized day, like reset day. And I'm going to have a bundle of templates to help you kickstart that. It's going to be wonderful. So we are going to show up with bigger energy towards the end of the summer here and leaning into the fall. But I just want to spend these few weeks in July, a little bit in June, saying, let's just exhale for a second and really think about why we're here. Why are we doing all this work to get organized? And the biggest thing I can say is that we want to create ease for us, and we want to do the things that we love and do it in a way that we love to do it, because that's what makes you you. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and make sure that you give me a rating or review wherever you listen. I would love it. Check out my free Get Organized at Work podcast community. That's the app. It's listed in the show notes or the description below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next episode next week. Take care.